I want to welcome everyone to number six in our Success Secrets series. This is Michelle Archer, and I have with me today Shaleen Ague, who I've known for, I don't know, 10 or 12 years. Shaleen's a veteran of the industry. She's been around for about 15 years. She has done small startups. She's a top performer. She's a wellness in the wellness space now. And what I find really fascinating is a lot of people are in the wellness space. Shaleen's runs triathlons, so
Mhm.
that's really impressive. If you follow her at all, and I'll tell you where to find her on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. She is a fitness buff guru. Um, Always working out. She's got guns. Show them. I want them to see your guns, girl. They're just crazy. I mean,
I wore a t-shirt for that. I
she's
typically am in a tank top. I wore a t-shirt
He's so
today.
fit. But your passion really is wellness, and that aligns. And we talked in other series, in other sessions about finding something that aligns with your passions when you're looking for a company. So anyway, I find that fascinating about you. What else? What else do they need to know before you get
Ugh.
started?
Well, you guys, I think, like many other entrepreneurs, I did start as a stay-at-home mom that just needed something more in my life. And I dabbled first in a company for a little bit, started figuring out what direct sales was. I had no idea what direct sales was. And then I started thinking, I wouldn't mind finding something I'm more passionate about. And I'm a devoted person. So jump in and just kind of work a business. And so I did for several years, was with one company. Absolutely amazing. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from different people. Michelle, you were one of them. I think when I first got started, I got introduced to a couple of your trainings, and you were integral in me just learning the basics and finding who I was as an advocate, finding out who I was as a person, and then as a leader as I grew. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster. It's been a ride, but I think that makes is what makes this fun for sure.
Absolutely. So our topic today is success isn't sexy. It's simple, right? So we're going to take some of the mystique out of out of success. People really, I find they make it harder than it really is. And so I think people are really hungry for this topic today. So why don't you start us off with your number one success isn't sexy tip?
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. So what throughout the years, as you develop into a leader, people always ask you, what is the magic wand? What is the thing that you do that makes you successful? And that's probably my key takeaway number one is it's not one specific thing, it's consistency over time. For me, my when I got started, I was never the fastest to the top. I was never number one in the company right away with recruiting, with sales, but I was very consistent and very balanced. And I did repeated business activities each and every day over and over and over again. So not only was it the consistency, but it was also my commitment to the consistency. A lot of people come in very, very motivated, motivated for earning the money, going on the trips. And then when the motivation fails or goes away, then they just don't know what to do. So I've really gotten to the point in my life in many aspects, and I'll kind of relay this back to my triathlons because me and Michelle were talking about triathlons. And have any of you guys that are on here ever been an athlete, ever ran a race? Have you ever done those things? Because seriously, when Michelle brought this up, when I was talking about consistency, I was like, you know what? I think those two just go hand in hand because I grew up being an athlete and being very consistent with my training and having a commitment to my training. I was able to take that skill set that I learned growing up as an athlete and move it over to my business. Now, the funny thing is When I was growing up, I was always an individual athlete. I was a runner. I was a cross country runner. I was never a team sport person. I didn't play soccer. I didn't play baseball. I was an individual sport. But I noticed as I came in and I was consistent with my business, my passion switched because I'm super invested and I love to work as a team. So consistency and commitment started being something that I started teaching my team and really, and I'll talk about this a little bit. As downline have come to me throughout the years and asked me about my success or what am I doing wrong or what can I be doing different, I really go back to, just really basic business building skills that we all have, no matter what business you're in. There are just business building skills that when you do them repeatedly over time, they compound. They may not compound super fast, but they compound. Um, so I was kind of looking at the sports analogy along with the consistency, and it really, really, I think that's where that key point came from is that you have to in a sports be very consistent with your training. You're not always motivated to get up and do it. Even to this day, there's days I'm not motivated to get up, but I know that there's an importance to the consistency and the commitment of doing those skills over and over and over again. Um, so I would say number one, if you're struggling to do anything, is just become very consistent on a daily basis with those business building activities.
And commit to that. It's not enough to
Oh,
say, I'm going to be consistent. You have to commit to the consistency. I love that.
one of the funny things I was thinking about when you had me thinking on my triathlon journey is 2 years ago, I did my first Ironman. That was kind of my bucket list. I'm almost 50, so it was my bucket list before I was 50 to do an Ironman. And if you don't know what that is, it's a 2.4 mile swim. It's a 112-mile bike, and then you finish with the 26.2 mile run. Okay, so that's an Ironman. So there's lots of training, lots of time, lots of commitment that goes into that. And there's definitely days you don't want to wake up and go on a hot 18-mile run. But you know that consistent training is going to make the whole Ironman a lot better. So I was thinking about that when before I ran my Ironman, you guys, they have like these vendors that you can walk through, before you start. And I purchased a visor and I purchased a t-shirt. And the visor said, I finished a 26 point or an Ironman. Okay. So now I had this visor and I had this t-shirt, and I'm like, okay, I have to finish. I have to finish this Ironman. I have a commitment now to myself, and I want to wear this $60 shirt I bought. I have to finish this Ironman. And there, when I started looking at the struggles I went through during my Ironman and during my training to what I've done in my business, low inventory, people not showing up, slow times in the season, you can really see where when you invest yourself and commit to that activity, you can do about anything. Because when my swim went very well. 2.4 mile swim went very well. I did play some games with myself because it was a 2 mile loop. So that was kind of a crazy experience, lots of waves, but I made it through that. And then I got to my bike, and just like a business, had to make a few decisions. In an Ironman, you have a 112-mile bike ride. Ours was in Wisconsin. And if you know Wisconsin, they have some hills, they have some killer hills. And I had known previously, because I know my body, that my hamstring does not do well with clip-in shoes. There's two kind of shoes. There's a shoe you can wear with a cage when you're biking, and then there's a clip-in shoe. And a clip-in shoe is actually beneficial because it gives you power and allows you to go up a hill. Okay. So I hadn't been training in a clip shoe. I had been training in a regular shoe, but Shaleen decided to do a cage, not her cage shoe, but a clip shoe. So a decision I made a huge difference in not a good way for the finish of my Ironman. And I want you to kind of think about this for your business too, because there's so many things that we do, we make choices of, or we have choices to make. And sometimes those choices are not the best choices. But when you're committed to finishing, it pushes you through the hard stuff. So let's just speed forward 60 miles, 80 miles, 100 miles on the bike. My hamstring is hating me. My legs are trashed. It's hotter than crud out. And I get off my bike for a 26.2-mile run. Now, I've never done a marathon, but I decided it was a good idea to do a marathon with a 2.4 swim and a 112-mile bike ride. Okay. We're talking about good decisions here. And so I started my run, and the first mile in, my hamstring quit working. And I slowed it down. I stretched. I'm like, I have this shirt to wear. I have this visor I want to wear. I have to finish. So stretched it out, tried to run again. About mile four, I got to a stopping point where there was a decision to be made. I either needed to stop and quit, or I needed to walk. And so part of like what I want to also get across to you guys is winners don't quit. And so I had to make that decision. And I did pray. I prayed a lot because it was 26.2 miles walking. I did ask God to either help me get through it, or make me start convulsing so they would remove me off of the training field. Um, but I didn't quit. And I crossed that finish line and I rang that bell. And was it easy? No. Was it always fun? No. Did I have to just keep persevering through, really hard miles? Yeah. And our business is a lot like that. But the consistency of my training, those hard days in my training, let me know that I could get through what I was doing in my Ironman, or vice versa. How hard my Ironman was is I competed, I did that, I can do this. And I just keep plugging away. And I just have to tell you, don't quit. It's not sunshine and rainbows always, but when you don't quit, those compound effects of your consistency and your commitment will show. They will totally show, because it's not always fast, it's not always sexy and glamorous, but it does pay off so much. And I thought, the correlation between the struggles of the Ironman and what I've done in my business have a great like story to them. So my first two were the commit or consistency and commitment kind of go hand in hand. And I looked for my visor to show you guys because I still wear my visor, but I must have left it out in my truck. But commitment and consistency, and winners never quit. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but you can't quit. You can't even have that on your mind that that's an option. And that's what I did. Like I said, in my Ironman, I had that option. I made the option to walk. I knew I couldn't run anymore. And I walked 26.2 miles and finished. So it's the same thing in our business. When it's hard, when you're not motivated and you don't want to get up and do it, or you're not getting the sales or you're posting and you feel like no one's watching, it's the same thing. You can't quit. You just got to keep going. So that's kind of a little bit of, the Iron Man story with business. But my other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, and let me make sure I have went over everything so far, is I talked to at the beginning about business building activities, and this is something I've really worked with my team on because we all come into this business for a different reason. Some of us just want the community, some of us want a little extra money, some of us do want to build a legacy. And with that, people come in and have different times to devote to training into their business. And so I like to make it doable. Okay. Because when things are doable, people are more likely to be consistent, to be committed, and to not quit. Okay. So when I look at business building activities, and I'm going to show you just a few examples, and you can tell me if I get off track, Michelle. But one of the things I've helped my team do is we've developed monthly trackers, 5x5 trackers, that it's 5 touch points in 5 different categories in 1 week. I mean, I don't know how many times people would come to me and say, you need to make 25 connections in a day. And I looked at them and I about died. I'm like, I got to take care of kids, clean my house, be a mom. And so what I did is I took business building activities and broke them down into smaller, like the 5 touch points in 5 different categories of business building activities in 1 week is not hard. That's minimum. Okay. If you have a good week and you want to do more, you do more. So we've come up with a tracking system we call our 5x5 system. And you can incorporate this into any type of business. For me, currently, my 5 different sections are like conversations is section one. So I want to have 5 conversations in a week. Okay. And then my second section is inviting people to a presentation, or could be asking somebody to host. Okay. I want to do 5 touch points. I mean, that doesn't mean I lock them in. That means I'm building the relationship. I'm talking about it in some way. So I do 5 of those. Then I have follow up. We know fortune's in the follow up. So 5 touch points and follow up. Team reach outs. If you're a leader of any type, reaching out to your team, seeing how they're doing, what can I help with? What can I come alongside and support you with? So I have 5 of those. And if they don't have a team, I encourage them to do some self-education, get into your back office, learn a little bit, train a little bit. Just spend some time catching up on updates because I know when you're not in this to build a business, a week will go by if you're not committed to it and you're like, 10 things have changed in the business. So I want these to be doable and small so you keep going. And then the last one is like product experience. We love what we share because we use them and we love them. So when you love something and you use it, what do? We share it. You go to a movie, you love a movie, you share about a movie. You have an awesome pair of shoes that you wear running, let's say. I will tell everybody these are the best running shoes around. So it's the same thing that goes with a passion of your business. And so we have 5 categories. You have 5 touch points each category. So by the end of the month, you can see where you're doing good, where you're failing, not failing, where you need to improve. So when someone comes to me and says, I haven't recruited anybody or no one's interested, I'll be like, well, let's sit back and look at What business building activities are you doing consistently? Where do we need to focus better? How can I help you? So things like that have really been helpful for success for me because it really makes those building activities super easy to see and doable for everybody. So that's one of the big things that I like to help people understand. You got to touch your business every day, whether it's 5 minutes because the day's crazy or you have a little bit more time. Touch your business every day. Have a checklist of important things you'd like to get done. My team, I have one team member on here. She knows I always say plan your work and work your plan. I said that to Michelle the other day. You do. It's like training. You have to plan for your work and then you have to do the work. So you have to work the plan, same as doing training. Um, have a routine, a time block time out ahead of time. If you're busy, same with, my fitness is when I had kids in the morning, I had 1 hour for myself. And that was my hour to do what I needed to do. So that's super important. And then keep it simple so you can do it any day, and even on your worst day, you can at least do some of it. So those are some huge things from me as again, consistency, commitment, winners don't quit. We just keep going, we pivot, we keep doing, and really focus on business building activities and in a very doable, simple way, but not scrolling through Facebook and counting that as a business building activity. Because when you time block that important time, you want it to be worth your time.
I love that. And the Ironman, you just made the decision to walk. And sometimes we don't feel like running. There are just days where you think I can't do it. But if all you can do is walk, then you walk. But you keep that forward momentum going. And the commitment and the consistency, I think that's where I work with countless consultants in our industry and companies. And I think that's where people really fall down is they make the commitment, but they don't keep the commitment. They're not really committed. They want it, but not when it's hard, not on days when they're tired, not when they have a headache, and that regular training, to your point, is so important. That everyday activity will build. And I see people will work really hard. They'll get really excited. There's a promotion or something, and they'll work really hard for a couple of weeks or a month, and then they fall off the bikes. They don't touch the business for 2 or 3 weeks, and then it's all back to where it was, and they get frustrated and walk off the field because it's not working for them. And the fact of the matter is they're not working for it is what the problem is. So I love that story. Um, and I think that's really important. And I love that you make these activities measurable because people say, okay, I'm going to work. Okay, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to work. I'm going to be, whatever. It has to be measurable. And you've got that sheet that you can go back with a consultant and say, okay, so you're not recruiting. Well, let's look at these recruiting reach outs. So these conversations, you haven't started that many. So, a typical yield is whatever, 50% or whatever, 2 out of 10 or whatever their ratio is. And if they haven't had those conversations, there's no way they haven't had enough conversations to get the consultant to get that new team member. So I love that, and I don't know if anybody wants a sneak peek of those sheets, but maybe
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
do
for
that.
sure.
Make
I
that
would
happen.
always be happy to share those. Again, it's just kind of different for everybody's business depending on what your activities are. There was something I was going to say about that with people working so hard. I always tell my girls, it's like be consistent, don't drop off, because it's harder when you quit training or you drop off and you have to keep restarting and restarting. You're better to at least touch it a little bit and do what you can than to fall off the face of the earth because it's going to be so much harder. And one of the things that has helped me is being in the fitness field and being a personal trainer for many years, and some of you guys would probably relate to this, is when you're trying to feel better and you're changing your eating or you want to lose weight. I would often have people ask me, or say to me, I'm doing everything, but I'm not losing any weight. And the first thing I did, and this is what kind of led me to the 5x5 tracker, is I have the person sit down and write down everything they put in their mouth, everything they put in their mouth. And when after a week they come back to me and they show me what they've eaten, I can pretty much tell them that they haven't been doing everything they thought they were doing because of this, this, and this. And that's kind of where the tracker came in is I would get as a leader, I'm doing everything, I'm posting, I'm doing this. And when we pulled back the onion layers, we could really tell where the focus was lacking.
I love that very methodical approach to business. I think we all need a little bit. I mean, yes, it's fun in relationships, but we need a little method to our madness to stay on track. So I love
Yeah.
that. All right, I'm not seeing any questions. I'll give you all a few minutes so you can type them in the chat. While we're doing that, why don't you tell us what you're up to?
Well, I'm always up to crazy things. I am not someone that likes to sit and be idle. I have a company I've been with for many, many years. I continue to do that. I started with a new founding company, which isn't even launched to customers yet. We are in the beta phase. So, kind of my favorite phase where we are testing things out. We're making sure the systems are in place so that when people come in and customers come in, things just move super smoothly for them. So, kind of like where I like to be in the business. And then when we open to customers, it will be, just we'll be ready to go. So I'm kind of doing that. I'm teaching cycling classes, just sharing fitness with people. So, but I did have, and I gave to Michelle, I have my own website, and in the website, you can kind of check out. I have blogs on fitness, blogs on self care. I also did a midlife metabolism series. So if you're like me and you're in midlife and you're struggling a little bit with all the changes going on, we'll share that link for you to kind of catch up on that series. It was such a fun series because between sweats and not sleeping and brain fog, we really
The
touched in
joy.
about everything.
Midlife is so much fun.
It
I don't
is.
have that link handy. Do you to pop it in the chat?
Yes,
Otherwise,
I
I'll send it out
can.
in the recap email.
Yeah, yeah, and I can do that too because I don't know let me see if I can pull it up here real
There's so many
fast.
tabs open and I can't find what I'm looking
You're all
for.
right. So when we first did this, you guys, it was actually you signed up for the class and then you attended each class. Now the link will provide you with all of the different classes. So all you have to do is go to that link and and you can check out all of the series. But these are things I love to do. I love to add value. That's the other thing. I love to add value outside of what I sell and what I share because I think that's where I build my relationships. People trust me a little bit more because I do love to add value and help people. So that's a great series.
It builds your credibility as well, particularly working in the wellness industry to say, okay, I'm not just selling vitamins and, miracle potions. I also am a trainer. I also am an athlete. I also have this blog to help people, and I want to check out the midlife one for sure. So y'all make sure and pop over there and connect with Shaleen. And there's a message me on your
Yep,
website
there's
too. You
all
can
of
stay in
that. You
touch.
guys, I'm always doing something crazy. Follow me on Facebook. I'm doing right now a Feed the Children Pedal for Purpose. So I'm actually opening up spinning classes, and the commitment I ask of them, because you need to be committed, is they either donate and feed a kid for a week through our Perga company or they can feed a kid for a month and that gets them all three classes. So I did see Michelle say, what company are you with? So as far as companies, I am with Perga right now. And again, like I said, this is a ground floor opportunity. It's biohacking simplified. So we work on longevity, getting to the foundation. Again, you'll see midlife metabolism is really repairing our foundational health. And from that foundational health, you feel so much better. I have so many testimonials on that. But I don't do online classes. I'm in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, but I always am happy on my website. If you go there, I have a section called Grab and Go, and they're grab and go workouts. So you can go over there, fill it out, and you can pick the different workouts you want to see. It'll send them to your email. You can print them off. And I'm always happy to answer questions on those specific workouts I have on there. But as far as online classes, I do not do. But
What was
yeah,
the
go
what was
ahead.
the what was the midlife thing that you did?
The midlife metabolism, it's that series. So it talked, we broke it up into four different series, educating people on what their body was doing, how the different recommendations, food wise, exercise wise, that you could do to help, kind of leading before Perga opened for the longevity, supporting our bodies as they age and giving us the best quality of life that we have. And that's, I think, why I loved this company so much, because it wasn't a gimmick, it wasn't a quick fix. I actually had avoided a lot of supplement companies for that reason throughout the years. When you're a fitness person, everybody wants you to sell everything, and I never did. And this was my first time that I said yes because I believed in the longevity of what they are going after. So yeah, it's a great thing. And like I said, we're doing donations right now to feed children before we're even open with products to sell, because we believe in radical generosity. So yeah, just another pillar that I'm just super proud to represent with them.
I love that. And that very much aligns with who you are. And that's been a recurring theme is finding what you align with. But the midlife thing sounds like an online class to me. You just didn't teach it live, but it's videos and
Right,
stuff.
correct.
Okay. Yeah. So that
If
makes,
you wanted to let me screen share, I can kind of show what it looks like real fast, but if
sure.
not, they can pop over there.
Yeah. I don't know if you can screen share with
Let
you
me see
spotlighted.
if it's gonna let me. It says send a request.
Okay.
I know we're trying to keep it not too long. Let's see, I will pop it up. So when you come to my midlife metabolism, you'll see that it was set up for you to sign up for classes. But series one's the big picture reset, kind of talks about, how you're feeling, what's going on in your life right now, what's the important things to focus on. Muscle is the currency of aging is a main theme in it. And then series two, muscle is your midlife metabolism. You can kind of walk through that. There is some strength training guidelines. You can download trackers for those. All of this is for you guys. I always do all this free. Series three is cortisol, cardio, and fuel timing. You'll be able to catch all of the things about cortisol in your body and what's going on. There's little morning reset routines, midday exercise routine, and then series four is insulin, inflammation, and blood sugar balance. So you can watch that one. Again, small little handouts you can take. And then we're always looking for ideas of what you would like to know or learn about next. Things like you can fill out the survey. Would you like to know more about gut health? Why am I gaining weight for no reason? And we actually take those into consideration when we think about what we want to do next to add value. So that's what the link will take you to when you click on it, and you can actually watch all of these. They're all on YouTube. Super easy. I mean, besides filling out that at the bottom, it's all value added things that you can jump in and just learn.
So every guest has had a freebie, and that's her freebie is this great website. And I've known you for so long. I trust what you say. So if anyone's looking for a health guide, Shaleen actually knows what she's doing. If y'all haven't figured that out by now. But anyway, I don't see any other
Yeah,
questions,
that's okay.
and I can't think of anything else. I so much appreciate you taking time, being part of the series, just to help others and share some ideas and maybe help them think about their business a little differently. And I think that correlation between fitness, working out and training and our business is very similar. We don't always feel like doing it. And sometimes when we're not as committed as we need to be, we don't do the things on the days that we don't feel like it. So one of my favorite things is, if you're tired of starting over, stop stopping. Keep going, even if you have to walk. I love that you walked the marathon because you weren't going to quit and you couldn't run. And that was the only other option left. I mean, that is so inspirational. I can't even say. All right.
Except praying for God to,
Anyway,
if I
Lord,
can, I'm
take me
not gonna
out.
make it, just take me out now. Take me home, Lord.
I'm not
I
quitting.
would like to also say before we end, thank you, Michelle, for everything that you do for people, how you invest in people. You've just been integral in my growth throughout the years. I've appreciated you. We've circled back around many times, and I just want to thank you for all you do for the industry as it's changed, as we've pivoted. It's just, yeah, you're just a great, great person, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for that, Shaleen. And we did meet a number of years ago, and we ended up at a company together. But yeah, I really, really appreciate that. That's my heart is to build the industry that built me. And I'm so lucky to get to do that. And I'm so lucky to get to work with women like you and some guys. We've got some guys out there. But anyway, well, thank you so much. I know that everyone really enjoyed you. I'm going to go take a
Yeah.
look at that midlife,
Yeah, if you have
midlife.
questions, I'm an open book. I'm always happy to help.
All right. Well, thank you
All
all
right.
for joining us live. I'll get this replay up and get it sent out with the link if you didn't grab it right now. And y'all have a rest of the week. It's Wednesday, right? It's hump day.
Yeah,
So y'all have a great rest of the week.
yeah.
And Shalene, I'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds good. Have a blessed day, guys.
Bye.